Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have a guest today. His name is Jim Calvin. You've seen him before on this program. He is the Abbot of the Zen Center. He's a Bodhisattva teacher, and he's fun, and he's a nice friend. But we're going to talk about difficulties today and the Zen approach. So I'm geared up for it and could use some advice. Because life can be difficult.
We're in big trouble. I don't do advice.
That's true.
But I will help you figure it out.
Well, I want to know what the Zen approach to difficulties is all about. Because you have meditated, you have achieved, well, you're a teacher of meditation and the Zen principles, and you must know a lot.
You said we were going to have some humor. Well, for a good start. Yes, today we're going to talk about dealing with difficulties and learning to deal with difficulties.
Okay.
And I'll start, if I may, by going way back to the beginning, and that is, how do we learn to deal with difficulties? And that really starts before we're born, because we have genetic predispositions to a variety of things, like what size we are we tall, short, big, small, which affects us in our later life. We have dispositions to dealing with stress and what kind of chemicals are released when we're under stress. So it really goes back to genetics.
Yeah.
But the real key is what we learn starting pretty early.
Okay.
It's called social learning. What do we learn from our parents, especially, our immediate family, our extended family, friends, teachers,
schools,
spirituals, the whole bit.
Yeah.
And we learn a lot of things, including how to react to stress and difficulties. And if we have maybe not so good models, maybe we learn not so good techniques. If we have a family member who withdraws and isolates when there's a problem, or who goes and drinks a lot when there's a problem, we learn that.
Yeah,
that's our
true.
Model, and we can unlearn those, and we can do things to change that. But
sounds like work.
It is work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah. Life is work.
Life is work. Life is difficult, the Buddha said.
Yes.
It's
a wise man.
Like I will say at some point, at least once in this show, don't worry. Well, that's easy to say and hard to do. It's work.
Yeah.
It does take work.
Yeah.
But then we take those things and we have our ways that we cope, or you could say they're ways of thinking and behaving. So let's talk about thinking.
Thinking, all right.
Start with the fun part, subconscious thinking. Sigmund Freud, a century ago, said that our behavior in our lives were driven by our subconscious ideas, as he would say.
All right.
And
was he right?
Well, he had a lot of ideas. Some of them were frankly wacky that we'll not go into, and some of them I think were very useful.
Yeah.
And one of the useful ones is the idea of a subconscious, that there are mental things going on that we're not aware of. And those include, as regarding coping with things, what's called ego defense mechanisms. The brain, the mind wants to protect us. We want to feel okay, do okay, be perceived okay.
Yeah, come off well.
Yeah, just looking
good.
So we do a variety of things to shut out unpleasant things. Mm-hmm. One of the big ones is called denial.
Yeah.
When we talk about death, we talk about denial. Well, that's an ego defense mechanism.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes that's helpful, especially when you initially get the news that you have a bad diagnosis. I shouldn't say bad. Get some sort of diagnosis.
Surprise.
A loved one dies, something like that. Normal reaction is, no, it can't be true. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
That's our mind protecting us.
Sure.
The problem is if you keep on in denial.
Yeah.
For example, I've done a lot of work in drugs and alcohol, and there's a lot of denial in addicts and alcoholics, which can be unlearned.
Yeah. If they face it.
Yeah. If they have to face it. They'll say, well, I don't drink any more than my friends. Well, your friends are all drugs too.
You keep good company.
And so on. regression, where you become childlike, sort of related to isolating.
Yeah.
So those are factors that can affect how you cope and need to be uncovered. If you're dealing with a situation, go to counseling, go to a pastor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if you go to the right place, they'll point that stuff out.
Yeah.
I've had those things pointed out to me too, long ago. You're in denial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then there's conscious thinking too that we're aware of. We're aware, for example, if we're worrying or stressed out or grieving or depressed, and that is something it's good that we're aware of, because then we can even talk about it more and deal with it.
Yeah. And change your mind.
And change.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I find is very helpful in terms of just general learning to cope, living your life, is honesty.
Yeah.
Being real.
Being real. Being yourself.
Being yourself, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, I do too. And if somebody doesn't like it, oh well.
Oh, tough.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm a little overweight. I'm a diabetic. I'm old. I don't walk well.
God, you're a mess.
That's right. And if somebody says that to me, I have a standard response. I go, "Oh, is that so?"
Too bad.
No, I say, "Is that so?"
Is that so?
Is that so?
Okay.
Or if it's something that I think they want to talk about or I want to talk about, I'll say, "Well, God, tell me about that. Tell me why you think I'm a stuffy old goat," or whatever it is. You know, no problem. I can hear that.
Yeah, sure.
So that's a coping mechanism, and it's something you learn, and you learn by practicing, by doing.
Yeah.
By being a little bit honest and open,
and
then see what happens.
Yeah.
And then you learn that.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, though? Being yourself really just cuts through everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that takes you to the honesty, that takes you to the humor, it takes you to not having to be popular.
Right.
And it takes you to great friends.
Right.
It takes you to mirrors that reflect parts of you that are fun. And
thankfully, yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have to have you don't have to be acceptable everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And that's another one.
Being acceptable?
Is really, that's helpful in coping is I don't have to anything. Now I do, hopefully, kind, loving things.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. But a big difference between deciding to do it, trying to do it, and I have to do it.
Yeah. What do you think of do-gooders?
Depends. You have to ask, what is the motivation? Are they really being helpful, or is it to look good, which is another ego defense mechanism?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, look at Jim. He's Abbot of the Zen Center, Dr. Jim Calvin. You know, no, who cares?
Yeah.
My real Zen name is Nobody Special.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, but you're nice. You're a nice person.
Thank you.
And
I like that.
You run a wonderful center.
Thank you.
And it's coming along. It's building.
Yeah, we were chugging along fine. We don't have a big membership, but we're doing just fine. We had a Zen master come and talk in Plymouth at our Plymouth group, because we have the Cape Cod group and the Plymouth group, which belongs to us. So yeah, the Zen Center is doing fine.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So there's difficulties in life, and we learn early on. And as you say, before we're born, we've got all these predispositions to things. So we do the best with what we've got, and we learn, hopefully.
That's just what I was going to say next. We learn.
We learn.
We learn, and there are ways to learn. Talk to your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your parents, your teachers, anybody. Read books. Read the Diary of Anne Frank. Read books about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And you see what people do. And that has a double benefit when talking to other people, because you develop a support system, which is very important with coping. You've got people who will talk to you, support you, help you.
Yeah. That's right up at the top.
Yeah, it is.
And who accept you and can hear you without, correcting and just
right.
lets you be who you are.
Let you be honest.
Yeah,
like
not
we were
everybody
saying.
can do that
Oh yeah,
for you.
that's true. Especially if, and this applies to kids and adolescents, if parents have expectations.
Oh.
So that's the way I was raised. Expectations. You will go to Harvard. It wasn't an expectation. That was
an
the
order.
rule. Yeah, exactly.
That's tough.
I did not.
You got defiant.
Well,
Well,
I got defiant, and I sort of escaped the whole situation. Instead of going to Harvard like my dad and my grandfather,
oh geez,
I joined the Navy.
that's an escape.
That was a good escape. Fortunately, it worked out well because that's where I learned about choices. What works for me? A couple of years into the Navy, I started going to college in Japan, and worked out very well.
That's
but
wonderful.
It was my choice.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. A lot of discipline in the Navy.
Reasonable.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tough when you're first in, like boot camp. You've heard of boot camp.
That's what I was thinking about.
Well,
boot
that's another great topic that fits right in. Seek out and do things that are a little bit stressful, like going to boot camp. Sure, they wake you up at 2 in the morning and you're standing watch with a pretend rifle. One time in the middle of the night, I was guarding the laundry line, the clothesline.
Oh, no.
So there were challenges to boot camp, but anything, seek out things to do.
Yeah.
Somebody asks you to give a talk or come on a show, or
To stretch you.
yeah, do stretches. Do stretches. Don't do a huge stretch. Don't say, how about tomorrow you and me go over Niagara Falls in a wooden barrel? No, that's but little stretches.
Yeah.
Little things that you can do, and so seek out challenges.
Yeah. That boosts you right up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you learn, another great thing, psychology term, self-efficacy. That means I can do it. I have the skills and the abilities to do things. And you only learn those by trying something.
Yeah.
Try something new, try something different.
Yeah. As you get older, you think about some of the things. I think of the marathon I finished.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like I'm struggling with my 2 miles, which is a walk-run, and it's like, oh, I'm seeing a new chapter here.
Yes.
I mean, and then having to just do what you can. As you transition and get older, you keep as much as you can going.
Oh yeah.
And you have to be willing to let go of some things.
You do.
And that's a creative process, to say the least.
It's creative, and it's a way of dealing with difficulties, and that's acceptance.
Yeah.
Getting older, don't
and
walk
substituting
so well.
something else, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
That as you grow and change, that reflects more of who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Think of all the times we've had on many hats and coats that reflected other periods in our life where we were so into that.
Oh, sure.
And how you drained that and moved on, and then there was something else, and it's quite a...
No, and you mentioned marathon. I ran a lot when I was younger, and I did 1 marathon just to do it, and I did it.
In the wrong shoes or right shoes?
No, they were good shoes.
Okay.
It didn't seem like it about mile 20, 22, but I don't think anything would have worked at that point.
No.
But, no, they were good shoes.
You did it.
You did it. So sometimes you don't have a choice in terms of challenges. Like my mom got sick, relapse of cancer, just over 20 years ago, and we moved in together. You take care of her.
Sure.
Well, it's kind of the right thing to do, but also it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And you learn and grow from that.
Yeah.
Just before that, the Halloween 1991 storm, the perfect storm that came here on Cape Cod.
Was I here?
Well, you heard about the perfect storm.
Yes, the perfect storm.
Yeah, well, I picked up the house where I was living and moved it.
Wow.
So
were you in it?
We evacuated about an hour before that happened. We were evacuating anyway, but the fire department came down. So dealing with that, what do you do with the house?
Yeah.
Well, to save money, I tore down the old thing myself with a chainsaw. Got a giant dumpster and chainsawed the whole thing down to nothing. So you
Amazing.
Deal with things.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, those two examples, in late 1998, I applied for a job teaching overseas with the Civic Education Project, which sends people to former Soviet Union places. And they were very intent knowing how I coped with things. They knew that where I was going might be stressful.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know, what have you done to cope with stress? I had to write an essay, how I cope with stress.
Wow.
And it turns out I did cope with stress so when I was over there, but maybe we can get back to that and talk about some other ways to prepare.
Well, your meditation practice, why don't you help us with how that has...
That's a huge help. That's a big help, and it really helped me in the story I'll tell later, because meditation is very here and now in the present, is very mindful, it's paying attention.
Yeah.
You talk, I listen. I talk, you listen. That's mindful awareness, paying attention. Also, Zen practice teaches about being non-judgmental. You can have opinions, but they're sort of minor.
Yeah.
You know, I'll vote in a month in the election.
Yeah.
But, you know, if my candidate doesn't win, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Zen practice is very good for preparing for stress and dealing with stress.
It's the goal, take you to a moment where you're just free.
Yeah.
You're free.
Yeah.
You're out of whatever stress it was because you did some breathing, you relaxed, you let things go, your mind quieted down.
Freedom in Zen is a very important and slightly tricky concept, because freedom is step one and then there's step two. Step one is being free. I can do anything I want. I didn't have to come here today. Okay. Completely free. Yeah. Step two is, well, what's the right thing to do? Yeah. Oh, you said you'd be there today? Here I am today. Very simple. Yeah. So, but freedom is amazingly helpful in terms of just overall mental health. Yeah. And coping.
Yeah. And you practice every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do.
And you teach.
I also teach.
Now, what kinds of questions would one get? Do they struggle with their, like, might someone say, gosh, my brain just won't quiet down. What can I do? Do you get questions like that?
Oh, yes, I do. And the answer to that is, if your brain's busy, no problem. Just the best you can, and it's only the best you can, and that's really critical. Yeah. Come back to this moment, come back to paying attention.
So don't fight it.
No, don't fight it.
Okay.
Because our brain is something like 100 billion nerve cells. It's the world's best supercomputer. And all those things I was talking about, like ego defense mechanisms, those are all wired in there. Yeah. And so mind wandering, no problem. Yeah. Just...
Because if you focus on it, you could make it worse.
Yeah. If you can come back to the present for 2 seconds, you're ahead. Yeah. And then you keep doing that, maybe you can come back to the present for 5 seconds.
You're training the brain.
You are training the brain, and that's why we call it practice. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's practice. Yeah. Practice being in the moment, paying attention, and then if you need to respond, then you do it. Yeah. And you do it smoothly and easily. Yeah.
How do you relate illness to getting older and maybe not coping as well as you could? What about denial, let's say, and then you come down with either a drinking problem or an isolation problem? I mean, you could be setting yourself up for a tough future.
Oh, sure. Well, the Buddha certainly talked about old age, illness, and death, and those are the 3 things that motivated him to leave his luxurious setting in a palace and to go out and find the answers, which he did. Yeah. And the answer is, how do we view those things? What we learned when we were little kids, all the way up to whenever something happens. And if we learned, which often happens in Western society, that those things are awful, then we're going to think they're awful. Yeah. But That's just because we think they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to say getting old is just getting old. Actually, getting old is wonderful.
Yeah,
I don't
it
have
is.
to run any more marathons.
Yeah. Yeah. It is wonderful getting old.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
And even getting ill, being diabetic. My eating habits got way, way better after I was diagnosed being diabetic. Well, good deal. Thank goodness I'm diabetic.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah. So you can live life in a more healthy way by undoing or observing or finding out about habits that weren't so hot.
Right.
Yeah.
We have what's called habit mind, which is how we react without being in the moment, without being aware.
I love what you said before about being yourself, though. I love to get on that because I think that's just key for enjoying life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think of the work putting on a mask.
Oh, yeah.
Or being proper.
It is
or
hard.
Appropriate.
It is, yeah. That's hard work.
That's a lot of hard work.
Hard work and stressful.
Yeah.
Therefore, stressful.
Yeah.
And so when we say, oh, I'm fine, I'm not grieving, I'm not stressed out, you're really adding to the stress.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So undoing, we can undo, we can think.
Right.
We can change our minds, we can
undoing,
be quiet.
That's an ego defense mechanism.
Undoing
Yeah,
is,
that's one of Freud's ego defense mechanisms.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix this. I'm going to undo it. I'm going to have a do-over.
A do-over.
I magically got my virginity back. Something.
A makeover.
And people believe that.
Yeah.
You tell yourself enough times the way your brain works, you honestly believe that.
Yeah. That I've heard is true, that you can talk yourself into stuff.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I always wonder how that happens, but I guess if
it's the supercomputer up there.
It can do it.
Oh, absolutely. And it is so powerful. I may have mentioned this last show, the old saying, seeing is believing, to which I totally disagree with that. Believing is seeing. How you perceive things are dramatically influenced by your thinking.
Yeah.
Your concepts, your opinions, your values, your judgments.
Yeah. Look, Jim, no one's perfect, but accepting that kind of is a help, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, we all have problems and we all have ways of doing things that aren't ideal, but if it's who we are, I think accepting the good, all of that mixture in our last 5 minutes is pretty healthy. Yeah,
accepting is very important, and I even have a different definition of perfect.
Ah, what is that?
You're perfect.
Aha.
Just who you are, yourself, your being, your personality, your behavior.
That is true.
That is perfect.
That's true.
So what's to see?
And everybody is perfect.
That's right. Yeah. But if you believe perfectionism to be some unachievable goal or difficult to achieve goal, boy, are you in trouble. Yeah. Because it's just running, and you never get there.
Yeah. That's a good point. If you always think, gee, I haven't attained this, I haven't succeeded at that, I don't look the way I want to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with someone yesterday about weight loss, and I said, do you want me to tell you the first, most critical step? And the person said, okay. I said, absolutely, totally, positively, unconditionally accept the size and weight you are.
Yeah.
Then you can move forward with whatever it is.
Yeah.
Exercise.
Because if you're attaching to that, it's cementing it.
If you're attached to it, or if you're stressing out, oh, way too much, oh, it's awful, oh, I'm going to have health problems. Well, it's just stress, which adds to your weight, actually.
Yeah. That is so true.
That's the way the stress hormones work.
Yeah. Now, what about folks who have an image of how they really want to look, and they're healthiest and they feel fit? I mean, and they maybe some folks can overwork that.
It can be overworked. For me, the image of who you are in this moment is the better image, and then you're free to freedom to change that if you want to. You want to run a little bit more, you want to become a vegan, whatever it is, okay, you can do that.
The anxiety about maybe extra weight could just make you so stressful you do more. You do more of that.
That's it.
Because You're right. It just makes things worse. So accept that and let it just float away, and then that will, I think, I mean, because I used to work at this as a dancer, that kind of helps you to just let it go, and it takes away the anxiety about, oh, I need more. Yeah, interesting analogy.
Yes.
But it's good to grow and have good habits. And what about habits and the way you do a day? I mean, you've got things that keep you strong and healthy, and I don't know about you, but I compartmentalize lots of things.
I do, and I have habits, but what I try to do, even with my habits, is I try to be aware of them. Like the way, for example, it's going to sound a little weird, the way I towel off after a shower is exactly the same every time.
Really?
But I pay attention. You know, I
That's
do.
interesting.
You know, left arm, right arm. I do my head first. And so it is a habit, but I pay attention. You know, did I really dry my head? Did I really dry my arm? And I go on that way. So habits are okay as long as they don't overrun your life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where it becomes a compulsion. Where, oops, I better go back because I didn't do the right order. Yeah.
That's right.
But we're good. We're happy to know about your shower routine.
Oh, thank you very much.
We have only about a minute and a half. So to overcome difficulties, I always like to go Zen right back to meditation. Helps us to keep seeking the moment, even if we don't get there all the time. Just keep practicing. Practice.
If you're in the moment, that's all there is. And then the next moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment. And a big key to that is you don't know what the next moment is going to be.
Boy, that's good to remember.
The unexpected. Life and things are always changing.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about the shower. I could keel over in 5 minutes. We don't know.
Yeah. Thank you
Oh,
for joining me.
Oh, sure.
And thank you, my friends, for joining us on Awaken the Dream. We will talk to you again soon.